Welcome to the Pineapple Perspective with Troy Hooper, sponsored by Pepper Lunch Restaurants. This is episode 1, and episode 1 could not have been with any other guest except for the one and the only Shawn Walchef, Cali BBQ, Cali BBQ Media. Shawn, welcome to the inaugural show of the Pineapple Perspective.
Troy, I know a lot of people that love you, respect you, care about everything that you're doing for the industry with Pepper Lunch. And I'm really excited for this show. I'm kind of upset. Honestly, I'm kind of
Uh-oh.
upset that it took 4 years of me nagging you and saying, Troy, when are you going to launch the show? The industry needs your voice. You have so many amazing connections. When is it going to happen? And it was this, that, the other. But ultimately, here we are. Today's the day, and I'm honored to be your first guest. Thank you.
It couldn't have been anybody else. You are the impetus for everything I do on digital, social, bringing hospitality to the masses. And it's been, I know, 2 years that I've been promising you I would do this.
2 years. It
Least
wasn't
2 years
4.
that I said, I'm going to do it. I'm doing a show, Shawn. I'm doing a podcast. I
Okay, we're
swear I'm
going
doing
with
it.
2. You've halved me. Okay, we'll go
Well,
with
4
2.
years you've been pushing. 2
Yeah,
2 years I've been saying I'm going to do it. So
fair
here we
enough.
are.
Fair enough. Well, let's give the audience a little bit of context. How did you and I meet? Because I think
Wait, this
that
is my show, Shawn. Look at you trying to host here.
look at me trying to
Um,
host. I'm already asking the host questions.
Exactly. Yeah, no, hey, I think some context is good. Let's tell everybody that we met digitally on Clubhouse. As a matter of fact, and I've said this to you only a couple times since I've known you, I found you on YouTube very early or just before the pandemic. I think a few months before the pandemic. I came across you on YouTube. I think I was searching for like restaurant influencers, restaurant shows, podcasts, or whatever. And this guy barbecue media. I was like, oh, okay, this guy talks about barbecue. He's a barbecue host. And then you start talking about all kinds of other things. And I'm like, wait a minute, who is this guy? Why is he talking about all these things that aren't barbecue related? Why is it called barbecue media? And I was, as you say all the time, people laughed at you and they still laugh at you. And I laughed. I was like, who the fuck, who's this guy think he is? Right. And what happens? I 6, 8 months later, maybe 5, 6 months later, I meet you on an app called Clubhouse because it's the pandemic and people are gathering. People are talking about things. People are trying to support each other, help each other out. And years later, here we are. At least 3 years later, here we are. And we've become good friends and supporting each other every day. And it's an honor to know you and call you a friend and an industry icon and a leader. And we're grateful for everything you do every day.
Well, let's get into that. The pineapple perspective. I've been waiting for the thesis. Lay it down for us.
Yeah. So you know how a lot of people say, every business is in the people business, and obviously we're hospitality guys, and we truly believe. And my thesis is that everybody's in the hospitality business. And what does that mean? That's taking the people business to another step. You can be in the people business, say, I serve people, I take care of people, I give people things they need and want. That's still very transactional. Hospitality is about treating people and giving them a feeling, giving them a sense of welcome, giving them a sense of home, giving them special care and personalized attention. So for me, the pineapple perspective is that every business is in the hospitality business, which is, to me, leveling up from the people business. Shawn, what does hospitality mean to you?
Simply kindness to strangers. When you break down hospitality to its core, it's kindness to strangers. I've always had a problem with customer service. I say that customer service is bullshit because I think it's the lowest standard of treating someone like a human. Why I love hospitality, why I love people like you, other leaders that are people first, is that we understand that it's all people, that it's not people in a transactional sense, it's people in a generational sense. Meaning, when somebody comes in as a stranger, we want to welcome them. We want to learn about them. We want to share all the things that we love to do in our business and the favorite seat in the restaurant. And we want them to have such an amazing experience that they just can't help but tell another human, whether that's digitally, whether that's in person. They can't help but say, you have to come to this restaurant. You've got to come and experience it for yourself. And when they do that, and they do that over time, and then they start to build traditions around that, it becomes so powerful where the next generation, when I have kids, I now take my kids to a Japanese restaurant in Pacific Beach called Ichiban. Now,
I've
Ichiban's
been
not
there.
going to show up on any top restaurants in San Diego, on any foodies list. It's not a highly rated Yelp restaurant, highly rated Google restaurant. San Diego Magazine's not writing about it, but it's our family restaurant. And why is it our family restaurant? Because my grandmother, who's Japanese, not by birth, but she raised me, this was her favorite restaurant. And I went there for comfort Japanese food with my Bulgarian grandfather and her. And as young as I can remember, I was going to that restaurant in Pacific Beach on Garnett Avenue. And I would get yakisoba, we would get udon noodles, we would get fried gyoza, we get chicken teriyaki. And these were things that I literally grew up eating, almost to the point of like once a week, we were getting Ichiban. Fast forward, I'm 42 years old now. I have a 6-year-old son and a 4-year-old girl. And my wife, when they were babies, my kids, the first restaurant that we took them to was Ichiban. And they grew up in Ichiban. Literally, Ichiban is a 25-minute drive on the freeway at 80 miles an hour from East Lake to Pacific Beach. But why do we go there? We go there because of hospitality. We go there because of the experience. We go there because of the food. And for me, so many of those stories get lost when we talk about the big brands of the world, you know, the ones that we admire, the ones that we respect. But the reason why we all love restaurants is that those local restaurants. I took you and your wife and your son to meet our family at Ichiban. Like,
Right.
that's our place. I literally celebrated my 40th birthday at Ichiban. Is it a big restaurant? No. Was it awkward to put tables together? But we figured it out. Why? Because that place holds a special place in my heart. And for me, it's those types of things that happen all over the world, not just in the United States. There's Ichibans in every single village. And it's how do you celebrate those and make those come to life with the tools that we have, you know, the YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. How do we share these things so more people can experience those great brands that live on forever in our heart?
Well, it's really obvious that is such a strong foundation because we're not going to get into it right now, but you've created a show for Toast, the technology provider, called Family Style, and you're essentially going around and interviewing and highlighting these family businesses, these startups, these single unit founders, these emerging stories. I have to believe that that exists in some way because of your experience, history, and affinity for exactly what you just described in this Ichiban story. So it's funny how things connect that you may not realize are probably related to each other. Shawn, you're a multi-unit, multi-service model restaurant owner. I would fully expect you to have a grasp and a foundation and a backbone of hospitality. That's a given. But let's set that aside. I want to take that hat off because the only hat you actually wear is this Cali BBQ Media hat. So, two questions. One, what the hell is Cali BBQ Media and what does it do? And most importantly, is what does that have to do with hospitality? What does Cali BBQ Media have to do with hospitality? How do you infuse the framework? How do you bring the mindset of hospitality to running a media company?
At the simplest level, Kevin Costner is full of shit.
Okay.
If you build it, they will come.
Right.
Field of Dreams. Everyone's seen the movie. It's an amazing, beautiful American classic. If you build it, they will come. And unfortunately, that lore lives on in entrepreneurs' mind, whether you're in restaurants, whether you're in technology, whether you're in a service-based business, really whatever business you're in. We believe that if we make something phenomenal, if we create something phenomenal, a product or a service, people are going to know about it. They're going to want to know about it. Other people are going to tell other people about it. And I learned very early on in a difficult location in 2008 where we opened up Cali Barbecue, no one's coming. Like, no one's coming. Are there brands that are able to hire PR firms in the old sense? Yeah, back in 2008 that could spend the amount of money from $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 to try to get into a magazine or a newspaper or a local news station to have the media come out. I didn't have that kind of money. So because I didn't have that kind of money, I used what was in my fingertips, which were all the apps that were built on top of the smartphone. All of these apps allowed us to become our own media company, to become our own publisher. I didn't need to go create YouTube. YouTube was there. I didn't need to create Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts was there. Instagram, Facebook, all of these different tools that we use on a daily basis. We just realized we need to get better at telling our story. And the problem that we have, and the problem that when I go and I speak and when I do podcasts and when I coach clients, we're our biggest problem. I was my own biggest problem. I was scared of how I was going to look. I saw the people that I like, I admire, I respect, and I go, I want to create content like that. But you never do. Like, I have to remember that the same way that I got into barbecue, I got into media. We made shitty barbecue in the beginning. Our brisket was so bad that we didn't even have brisket on our menu until months after we decided to become a barbecue brand. But eventually, we put out our first plate of brisket. Was it the brisket that we're serving, 16 years later? Absolutely not. But every single day, we're learning how to make better brisket. And you put all of that learning on top of each other, you put all of the storytelling on top of each other, we can make videos really quick. We can make podcasts really quick. We can launch shows for companies like Toast. We have 2 shows, Restaurant Influencers on Entrepreneur. We have Family Style on YouTube for Toast. We're launching shows for restaurant groups now. We're launching shows for other tech companies because I have an amazing team that understands what we say is producing content comes down to 4 P's. You plan it, you produce it, you publish it, and you promote it. That's it. And then you repeat the cycle. But you don't need to ask for permission anymore. That's the craziest part. Is like you don't need to ask for permission, and you have to be willing to start with content that isn't fantastic. The amount of brands that you know and I know that have a company LinkedIn page that literally post once a week a company update that maybe some social media agency has been hired to produce some bullshit content that no one cares about, no one engages, and they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. For us, we knew there was a gap, and a huge glaring gap in public relations, in social media management, in content. And Cali Barbecue Media was created out of this need to help a lot of the technology partners. We publish our tech stack. How do you build a restaurant tech stack? We created a blog, we created podcasts, TikTok videos, all of the things that we believe in. Marquee, Ovation, Toast, Restaurant 365, Incentivio. I mean, we have this enormous list of brand partners, but we also understand user-generated content from a business owner's perspective. Business owners can create content about the things that they believe, but most people just don't think about it. They don't think anyone cares. Instead, they post the same shit on Instagram every single day of it's happy hour, come buy my shit. You got to change up the storytelling. And the only way to do that is to admit that you have to do it yourself. Like the leader in the organization has to do it themselves. We talked about the orange tree theory that I have, this orange tree that I have at our restaurant. I believe that every single brand, not just restaurants, has an orange tree. I believe that Pepper Lunch has an orange tree story. And I believe
Absolutely.
that your job as the CEO is to find that orange tree story because it's somewhere there. It's somewhere deep. And sometimes until you do that investigative work, you're not going to find it. And when you do find it, you got to get better at telling that story because the better that you get at the story, then, we say, how does a story become a legend? How do you know how it
How?
becomes a legend? The
No, tell
story's
me.
so good that you have to tell somebody else.
Right.
Like you can't get it out
I
of
got
your
to get
mind.
better at telling the beef pepper rice story because
You
that's
do.
that's the impetus, right? Yeah,
That's
I need to tell it more
and
often.
the better that you get at telling that beef pepper story, the more other people will share it. Because I truly believe that right now we live in this place where people they want to be motivated, but motivation's bullshit. Motivation will only get you so far. You need to be inspired. And we're
Yeah, people want to
inspired
be
by the
They need to
story.
be activated, right? They
You
need to be
have to be
turned on.
activated.
Like,
You and I
yeah,
have gone to countless restaurant panels, countless restaurant trade shows where we sit there and we're waiting for something to happen. And guess what? Nothing happens. Why? Because people are reading from a slide deck. This is the approved slide deck, and these are the things that we're going to talk about how we're, moving our restaurants forward, how we're making our tech better. And everyone's sitting there like, when is the show going to happen? Can
Right.
somebody get the mic and start speaking some truth? Can somebody tell me a story? It's amazing how complicated we make it. You're laughing because
Just
you've
tell
been on
your
the train.
story. Just
You've
pick it
been.
up and tell your story.
That's it. I
What's your
mean,
story?
I was
And
literally.
I try to make it easier and say why. Tell your
Yeah,
why. It's easier to ask. Well, people are like, what? Well, what do you mean my story? Nobody gives a shit about my story, like you said, right? But the answer is, tell us why.
yeah,
Why do you exist? Why did you start this? Why did you change it? Shawn has hours of story because he was a family breakfast restaurant, then he was a sports bar, now he's a barbecue restaurant. There's story there, right? But yeah, starting as a dishwasher, I started as a busboy. To anybody out there, just tell us why. Why are the chairs that color? Why'd you do that chandelier? Why do you buy the produce from who you buy it from? Why does that ingredient matter in the grand scheme of, like, whatever? Tell us why. People
yeah.
just want to know the why. They're interested. They want to know how the sausage is made for the saying that we all know. So it's tell me, Shawn, though, fantastic intro and understanding as to the foundation, but how does hospitality play in your daily thesis? How do you bring hospitality through in that storytelling, and how you deal with your clients, how you explain to them and convince them that this is the way versus what they're doing, which, like you said, is the BS, trade ad, billboard, blah, 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 generic stuff. How do you get them to understand that hospitality is a feeling, not a transaction?
It's a great question. I think my focus on a daily basis is, we like to talk about things that are easy to understand, and I already talked about the 4 Ps. The other one's the 4 Cs, which is content, commerce, communication, and community. Content, commerce, communication, and community. All of those things all live on our smartphone, on our digital devices. We're all really good. Business owners can't be in business if you're not good at that in real life. The big gap that we have is this understanding of what's important online. We place way too much importance. The amount of podcasters that I know that only podcast audio because they're obsessed with their download numbers because they think that that's where they can monetize their show. Well, I have this many downloads on Apple Podcasts. Well, who gives a shit? What about all the Android users? Or what about all the people that listen on YouTube? Or all the people that listen on Spotify? Or the people that don't have time to listen? Are you writing an article for the people that like to read? Like, it's omni-channel. We can't discriminate how people hear us, consume us, find us, when they find us, how they find us, where in the journey they are. But we have the ability to, if we get really good at capturing what we do in real life and publishing it on platforms without discrimination, just because I don't like Facebook, because Facebook's changed so much, doesn't mean that I don't post on Facebook. I need to actually post more on Facebook. I need to post more on Instagram. I need to do Instagram stories. I need to post more on TikTok. Like, I have my own issues of, I have so much content now. We have content for the barbecue business, for the media business, for both of the shows that we do, for shows that we do for our clients. I have my own content that I need to post. And it's
Oh, you're not
understanding.
done. Hold on.
What's that?
You've got your wife's content,
My wife's content.
and
My
now,
kids have a
and
YouTube
now,
channel. Correct.
the kids have their own YouTube channel because
My
being on the Walchef Wolfpack channel wasn't good enough. They had to have their own channel and start their
my
own
children
program.
I have helped my children. My 6-year-old boy came to me, Colleen, and on a Sunday morning, and he said, "Mom and Dad, today's the day. I need to launch my show. I need to launch my YouTube channel." Is what he came and specifically said. I go, "What are you talking about?" He said his friend, his one of his best friends, has his own YouTube channel, and he already has 7 subscribers, and he has 3 videos up. And I told him, Colleen, we've been making videos since you were born.
You're a
We have
child star already, buddy.
you already have your own Instagram channel, the Walchef Wolfpack. Like, you and your sister have all kinds of videos. Like, no, I want my own channel. And then so I'm like, okay, I'll help you today and create a YouTube channel. And we started making a video of him playing with his monster truck and playing with slime. And then his sister's like, I want a YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, you guys get one channel. We can make both. You can have your own videos. My daughter, playing with her makeup, and then my son playing with his monster trucks or playing basketball. We just actually got back just before we started recording this. We went to a parent teacher conference. My son's in first grade, so we are meeting with his teacher, and she was talking about his ability to speak and his ability to communicate. All of the things that we're talking about on this show, the things that I care about in business. And she was so impressed with his development, even though he's the youngest in his class. So he's the youngest in his class, but because he's exposed to the things that we do as a family, you know, not just in the restaurant space, but in the media and storytelling space, these are skills that we all need. We all need to learn how to communicate better. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what position you are in the company. In fact, the more people that you and I have seen that started to do videos just on LinkedIn, shout out to
In the
Mike,
last 2 weeks.
shout out to Mike LaRue, you know, shout out to Mike LaRue, shout out to Paul
Chris
Tran,
Wells picking up the
Chris
camera.
Wells, shout out to, you know, Sophie Davis, people in our digital hospitality community, because we see content on the internet. We scroll through content. We like the content. Sometimes we comment, you know, from having spent as much time as you have on LinkedIn specifically, the more that you do it and the more that you engage and the variety of stories that you tell, it's incredible how many people that you have no idea are watching. Like literally, you don't
Absolutely.
even know they're
They
connected
walk
to
up to
you.
you in broad daylight
Yes.
and be like, yeah, and it is variety. I mean, that's a huge thing to sort of point out to people is you have to be your entire self. This isn't about, hi, I'm Troy, pepper lunches, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's interesting for 3 seconds and it's interesting 3 times. But after that, people are going to tune you out. You have to be your whole authentic self. As a matter of fact, I get more feedback. I've been posting almost every day, or let's call it 4 to 5 days a week on LinkedIn, something about building a business or our industry or promoting other people that are telling great stories or sharing important messages. And I get feedback on, hey, you're everywhere. My God, you post so much. There's so much great content. Oh, thanks for sharing. I get all that feedback. That's great. It's really sort of one-sided feedback until I posted about a Saturday at an airport lounge. Woe was me, first world problems, but basically saying, holy shit, I'm tired. This is my 40th trip in a row and I've been gone, you know, and look at me on a Saturday. All these people going to the football game, going to their vacations, and I'm getting on a plane to go to work on a Saturday morning. And hey, this is hard. Like, you know what? Thank you everybody for recognizing how much work and how obvious, but this is hard. I miss my family. You know, that was the moment. My son cried for the first time because I left, and it really hit me. And so I put that out there. I've gotten more. That's actually one of my most quote viral posts ever. And I get more people walk up to me on the floor of a conference or a convention or expo or a meeting and say, Troy, that post about you missing your family, and I get choked up. Like that like I feel the same way. Like, oh my God, I felt seen, I felt heard. It showed a real side of you, like not that you're superficial, but we got to see the real man and how he's affected by what we see, all this work he's doing. There's a flip side, and we get it, and we see you. Holy crap! Like unbelievable, and a light bulb moment too of, hey, you can connect with people really authentically through these digital channels. I want to segue that into, because you just teased it. You know, I give you credit whether it's you or not. You're the walking billboard of the word digital hospitality. And when people hear digital hospitality 2 years ago, it was really foreign. Now I think a lot of us are familiar because you've been saying it and others have been repeating it. But where did digital hospitality come from, and what does that mean? Like, how do we deliver hospitality in this new digital universe?
Digital hospitality is our deep thesis. It's something that we've lived through in our experience of not being, you know, having a business that was struggling and learning how to tell our story, but then also understanding that we were in this great revolution of the internet, you know, Web 2.0 with all the apps that were at our fingertips. As a restaurant owner, figuring out that as much as I hated Yelp and loved Yelp in the beginning days of 2008, 2009, 2010, eventually we got to a point where my feelings didn't matter towards Yelp. My feelings towards Google didn't matter. I couldn't be subjective. Objectively, there were people there giving our restaurant feedback. I needed to treat them like a human, just like I treat the people that come in, like not only like a human, but like family. No matter if
Right.
they had a profile photo or not, no matter if they actually came to our restaurant or not. What if instead of assuming the worst, I lead with love. I lead with friendship. I lead with hospitality. If I did that online, is that hard to do? Yes, hard to do. Is it hard to respond to text messages when they come in? Yes. Is it hard to respond to emails the same day that you could receive the email? Absolutely. Is it hard to respond to reviews now across all the platforms? 100%. But if you prioritize it the same way that you prioritize someone raising a hand at a speech, somebody raising a hand for a server in your restaurant, wow, things start to change. Things start to change across all of these micro platforms, all of these little digital playgrounds. Facebook, if you see somebody comment something and you respond, I know from being on the other end of it, brands that I admire, speakers that I admire, creators that I admire, the ones that take the time, the Gary V's to go, oh, hey, I saw it. Like, it doesn't need to be some big explanation, but you're there. I see you. I appreciate you. Those things that aren't scalable become the bedrock of what we believe in digital hospitality. Understanding that there is some human, whether it's automated, but it's personalized to my experience, to know that you care about me. If your business cares about me, I care about you. And we're going through what we call the business creator economy, where so many business owners are starting to understand these partners that we have, these companies that we spend money with. We have made a conscious decision. There's multiple partners that we get to choose from food to beverage to equipment to contractors to insurance agents to attorneys. We make these decisions offline, but we make them with intent. If we make them with intent and we love the lawyer that we're working with or the insurance agent that we're working with or the equipment company that we're working with, maybe another restaurant owner might want to love that information too. And
Absolutely.
for sure the vendor needs the marketing, for sure they need the testimonial, for sure they need the content, because we're all trying to figure this out. Like, the amount of marketers that I know that are phenomenal people that just need extra help. They need the owners to go, hey, those stories, the orange tree story, the beef pepper rice story, like, we need to tell that story more. We need to tell it in different angles. We need to tell it, where was the origin? Like, what's the recipe? All of those things we need to focus on. And if we focus on them, now all of a sudden other people will start to share that story.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the thesis of this show is I'm going to interview anybody and everybody, and really the idea is how is this helping the audience? How what is the this isn't for Troy. It's not really for Shawn, although there's benefit to both of us there, right? But it's how does this help somebody listening, watching, consuming, reading the transcript to say, oh my God, that's what I think. I need that. I need to know more about that. I'm going to go out and start learning more about Shawn or media or digital hospitality or something that we mentioned in the show. How are we helping them? If that's your intent, to me, that is hospitality. If your intent is to give without expectation, your intent is to bring value to others first. Look, the karma, if you whatever you want to call it, the circle of life, it all comes around in the end is absolute truth. But if your intent is to bring value to others so that they can amplify and accelerate their success, whether personally, professionally, family, community, whatever, at the end of the day, that's good for everybody. And so that's why we're doing this show.
I'm very excited for the journey because I know how much you care about the industry. I know how much you care about the listeners, the people that are watching this, wherever they're going to consume this. For us, digital hospitality has become bigger than a thesis. It's become a community. I knew in my heart at the beginning of when we launched our show back in 2017, when it was called Behind the Smoke, I knew that I wasn't alone, that I wasn't the only restaurateur, the only person that believed in hospitality, that also believed in technology. I knew that. No one was listening in the beginning. Like, no one gave a shit. And that's the fear that most people have, is like, if I make a video today and I post it on LinkedIn, I'm going to look stupid. I'm not going to have the right background. We started this show and worried about your background. This is your first show. Like, These things are real. Like, we all worry about launching the next show. Is the music right? Where's it going to get published? Is the logo right? All of that prevents us from learning. Like, you got to take the first step. We all are worried about catching up. Like, you see somebody that you like, admire, you want to emulate their content. You got to be you. You got to take the
Right.
first step and look stupid and sound stupid. And then the next day, do the same thing and learn from it. And after 100 videos in 100 days, now you've actually made progress instead of coming back in 2027 and realizing, hey, guess what? The internet didn't go anywhere. It's still here. Not only is it still here, it's more complicated in 2027 than it was in 2024. We have more channels that we need to be on. Well, don't worry about the channels. Don't worry about the tactics. Don't worry about the algorithm. Worry about the storytelling. It's audio, it's video, it's words and images. That's it. You already do that in real life. Just listen to this show, come to the digital hospitality rooms, listen to the other content creators out there. The information's free. Like, YouTube has it all, podcasts have it all, books are there. But they all tell you the same thing. You got to start. Stay curious, get involved, ask for help. That's what my grandfather taught me. That's what I talk about on all the shows, talk about in all the rooms that we do. Curiosity brings you to a show like this, but like, do the work. I'll share the story. Is when I was growing up, I never met my father. My Bulgarian grandfather raised me. And when I was a little boy, the same age as my son, that I went to the parent teacher conference, I remember my grandfather would always ask me, he cared about education. That's how he got out of being a farm boy in Bulgaria. He cared so much about making sure that I had the best education possible. But he would always ask me, Shawn, are you sitting in front of the class? Are you asking questions? And as I got older and became in middle school and high school, I would roll my eyes and be like, no, Grandpa, like, I'm not sitting in front of the class. I was sitting in the back with all the cool kids because I wanted to be cool. And then I went to college and I still did the same bullshit. And then he asked me to help write his book. And we traveled throughout Europe for 6 months, or so, I'm sorry, 6 weeks throughout Europe, from Western Europe to Eastern Europe. And I got to go to all of these incredible places to help him write his memoir. And on the journey, at his age, having been a medical doctor, having been a real estate developer, having done so much, he was still eager to learn more. So at the front of the bus, at the front of every tour we went on, he was in the front asking questions. And why was he asking questions? He wasn't asking them for him. He was asking them for me. The answer is to do the work. Like, do the work. Ask the questions. Find the people that are doing the things that you admire. There's never been an easier time to reach out to people like Troy, to people like me. We are weirdly available to help you on your journey. And the secret's easy. We're going to just tell you to do the work. But you need accountability partners, which is why we've built a community. If you come on Wednesdays, Fridays on LinkedIn, we have a community of incredible leaders with all different backgrounds from all over the earth that will tell you the same thing, but they will encourage you. We need that encouragement. I need that encouragement. Sometimes there's days where I'm like, I can't post today. And then Troy will say, Shawn, why haven't you posted? And that's how we hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, the community, as Jason Berkowitz would say, is let's land this plane on the sense of community, because that's, I think, one of the biggest unlocks, besides what most of this conversation has been about, which is do the work, tell the story, post the video, right? That's one of the biggest unlocks for anybody in their business. But another one is that you don't have to be alone. And you said it. You were alone. We all were alone. Restaurateurs in general have their head down, focused on their thing, and they're not part of a community. And one of the beautiful things that's come out of the pandemic, in part, is the accessibility of this digital community. We found each other on Clubhouse. Other people find each other on LinkedIn. Other people find each other at conferences. Whatever that venue is, it doesn't matter. But to the last part of your stay curious, get involved, ask for help, is you have to get involved. You have to raise that hand. You have to step into that room. You have to sit at that round table. And even if you're just listening, like we tell people, just listen, just come and listen. And if you just listen to 10, 12, 15 operators, restaurateurs, technology, founders. We have people, social media managers, Mandy Graziano, hospitality sales coach and expert. Like, just listen, and you're gonna pick something up. Something's gonna resonate. Something's gonna click, and then we just want to invite you to get involved. Right? Just raise your hand and tell us your version. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. Just speak. How does this matter to you? What is this? How do you manage this? How do you solve this problem? And we all just give our statement. Everybody just says their thing. And ultimately, that accumulative knowledge, that cumulative experience, and that most importantly, accumulative support. You feel seen, you feel heard, you feel inspired, you feel motivated, you feel supported. I mean, everybody's in there texting and DMing and introducing people to other people. Hey, I know somebody can help you with that. That sense of community, to me, is the unlock to a much higher level of total success, personal success, professional success, community connection, meaningful impact, etc. But I'm telling you, doing it on your own has a limit. It has a ceiling to its results and to its impact. What are your thoughts? I mean, you built this community, you started this space, you every day are inviting people everywhere you go to come and just be a part of this conversation. Tell me about your thoughts on this community and what it means and what it can do for other people.
So I'll share a story that David Meltzer, my media mentor, he shared with me when I interviewed him. So I'm starting to publish all of my coaching calls with him. So I'm repurposing those into digital hospitality episodes so that people can learn. They can just get a seat at the table. I'm, a barbecue restaurant that's building a media company, and I'm, just basically sharing the playbook. And I asked him early on about content creation and about business owners and B2B content specifically, of why don't people start? What are people scared of to start? And what he shared with me was that the problem is that most people don't believe in Noah's Ark. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, not Noah's Ark in a biblical Old Testament type of way. They don't believe in the power of 72, Einstein, compounding interest, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. When you talk about doing video, when you talk about investing in storytelling, when you talk about investing in a community, it's the power of consistency. One of the best stories that I use often is the digital flash mob. How do you start a digital flash mob? Well, you have to be willing to be the crazy person in the town square that hears the music. So if this sounds like music to you, if this stuff that Troy and I are talking about telling your story, about producing video, about using all the tools that are available to you, you got to be willing to dance in the town square. You got to be willing to publish that first video. And when you publish that first video, it's scary because you feel like you look stupid, you sound stupid, everyone's making fun of you. Who do you think you are? You think you're some influencer. You're just a human that has life experience that's sharing their story. And your truth will resonate with one of the 8 billion people on this planet. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but if you get 2 people in a year that believe in you, that want to support you, that want to show up for you, that want to listen to your podcast, that want to share your books, read your books, come to you on stage, come to your meetups, next year, those 2 people will tell 2 more people. But most people don't want to do that work. This will not happen overnight. If you're willing to accept that this won't happen overnight and you're part of the 5%, maybe 1% of people that will actually do this work, it will change everything that you do. It'll change your entire business. I mean, I don't even consider myself in the restaurant business. I'm in the storytelling business. Do I happen to sell barbecue? Yeah, I sell a lot of barbecue. It helps provide for my family. It helps provide for all of my incredible employees. We take care of the community. We're about to open up on the Navy base. But I would be an idiot not to take advantage of this time in history where we have access to all of these incredible distribution tools. I don't need to be ABC or ESPN. Those things, they're trying to figure out the internet. They're trying to figure out YouTube. They're trying to figure out Instagram. They're trying to figure out attention. All I need to do is have the courage to know there's other people like me that go through the same things that I go through. So if I'm willing to share that, and if I get better at sharing that, I'll have a lot more opportunities. I've been given unbelievable opportunities. I mean, I'm on the Toast Customer Advisory Board. Like I said, I have 2 sponsored shows with Toast. I just interviewed Aman Narang, the CEO and co-founder. I mean, the things that I've been able to do just with Toast, forget about all the other brands that we're doing work for. If you come to Spring Valley, which Troy has been to Spring Valley, people ask me like, well, how do you know that this stuff works? I'm like, go to Google Maps and type in 8910 Troy Street and look at Google Earth. Look at where my restaurant's located. If you don't think I believe in the internet, then you don't get it. Like, we all have this opportunity and we all have the same excuses. So if you have that excuse, let this be the calling where you go, today's the day. I'm going to tag Troy and Shawn in my video and welcome to the community, because we will
Exactly.
support you. We will show up. We will give you words of encouragement. We will also hold you accountable to make sure you do that video tomorrow, because it's not
Watch
going to
out, Mike
stop.
LaRue. I dare you not to post a video one day, Mike LaRue. We're all watching for tomorrow's video every day.
That's correct.
You know, if Ashwin come on and he doesn't post a video a day, he's going to get 8,000 DMs that
That's
says, "Are
correct.
you okay?
Are you
Are you
okay?
okay?"
What's
Because
happening?
he posted a video from the hospital bed just before and just after knee surgery.
Do you remember what
So,
remember what Ashwin said in our clubhouse rooms? Well, LinkedIn room. He was worried about
remind me.
over posting.
Right.
He was worried about posting a video every day instead of a video per week. And now he's been posting a video per day. And Juicer is doing absolutely incredible things. I mean, I literally was just interviewed by the Wall Street Journal for an article about Juicer, about dynamic pricing
Amazing.
in our restaurant. And the irony, so we'll tie this whole thing together. The irony is that at the same time last week when I got interviewed for this Wall Street Journal article, the same time there was a barbecue editor for Texas Monthly Magazine. It's the most important magazine in the barbecue space, names the top 50 restaurants. Basically, if you get on this magazine in Texas, it's how you become successful. This is the old legacy media.
Right.
He came to San Diego to try barbecue restaurants. I was hoping he was going to come to our restaurant. He decided not to come to our restaurant. He wasn't impressed. Ironically, I used to care and I would have been devastated.
Right.
Within 6 hours of knowing that he wasn't coming to our restaurant, I got notified from Ashwin that Wall Street Journal would be contacting me. The world works in mysterious ways.
Yep.
Would it be great for our restaurant to be in whatever article Daniel Vaughn produces? Absolutely. But that's not my path. And I would never have had this opportunity had I not had a crazy idea back in 2017 to launch a show. Not only launch a show, but invest in a show and not make any money for 5 years. 5 years. No money.
Yep.
Just keep spending money. Like, I did it with an inherent belief that we're doing something. And I'm still reinvesting money, trying to figure out, how do I make this into a business where we can help more people, where we can help more brands, where we can help more people individually, because we believe in it. I mean, that's just the truth of everything.
So if you are listening or watching this and you believe and you want to hear more and you want to learn more from Shawn, how do they find you? Where do they contact you? How do they learn more about how to become their own media company?
So we launched our brand new website, which is betheshow.media. That allows you to go onto our website to we better articulate how do we help brands at the highest level produce shows for them. So actually you get access to my entire Cali barbecue media team, and we help produce a show for you. If you're looking at distribution, we can help you with distribution. If you're looking at bringing in sponsors, we know how to do all that. We also have sponsorship available for the shows that we produce, which is digital hospitality and restaurant influencers. And then at the lowest level, entry level, we basically, I do coaching. So I do content coaching for executives where I meet and share everything that I've learned. I mean, that's the plain and simple is I want to help as many people as I can do the things that I know work. Because if you start and you're held accountable and you get a little bit better, you can start to do some really cool things that have never been done in your business, in your space. And the idea is to actually be more profitable, right? We all work really hard, and if we are more profitable, then we can have a bigger impact on our communities, on our families, and start to do some things that I mean, I've done it. I've spent a long time in the restaurant space, and it is not an easy business. It's only getting more and more difficult and more challenging. But we're all trying to figure out storytelling, and we're all trying to figure out media. I truly believe that everyone that's listening to this, their brand could be a media company if they choose to do the work. If you choose to do the work, you can do it, because we did it.
Yeah, look, every day I say something that's been inspired by you, in this community that you've built.
We've built. I need to
Yeah,
correct you, because I was just willing to show up. Troy heard the music, and Troy, I can't thank you enough. I'm happy that it's
I just
on your
started
show.
dancing like an idiot in the
No,
town square with you.
you heard the music, you were dancing up there, you gave me the encouragement to continue to keep going, on Clubhouse, doing all the things that we do. I can't thank you enough, not just for what you've done for me, but for our team and for our community. I've always leaned on you on days that I couldn't show up because I was traveling or whatever reason, and I truly appreciate the digital hospitality community. It is nothing without it. Would be nothing. It's not about me. It's about people like you, and you've been an
No,
incredible
appreciate
leader
that.
and inspiration.
Well, like I was going to say, almost every day, I say something that whether you've said it directly or it's just inspired by you and this thesis and the results that have come from it, because I've lived it now to a point that this is just one iteration, right? This is just one expression of that inspiration. But like examples of people saying to me, "Well, should I like start a podcast, or should I make a video?" And I say to people, "How many people do you know doing what you do that make a video every day about what they do?" Nobody. I've never seen anybody talk about dentistry or mechanic or whatever it is. And a lot of times it's like vendors in our industry,
Yep.
right? And I'm like, right. So if you did it and you were going to be the only one doing it, don't you think other people who want to know about that and learn about that and are looking for that would find it, and maybe you would get the credit and get the business because you're the one that's willing to tell the story? And the light bulb goes off. You see it. You see
Mm-hmm.
it. And that comes directly from your example. If nothing else, it's not always what you say, but it's what you do. And it's what Gary Vee says. Don't listen to what I say. Just watch what I do. The
Yep.
real magic's in watching what I do. The secrets are in the actions. If you decode what I'm doing by just repeat what I'm doing, you're gonna get all the real true juice out of it. So I just want to thank you. I appreciate you, and I mostly appreciate you being episode #1 guest of the Pineapple Perspective with Troy Hooper. This is sponsored by Pepper Lunch Restaurants. Go to pepperlunchrestaurants.com to learn more about the brand, the amazing food, the amazing community, our awesome team. And if you're interested in owning a restaurant and you want to get involved in franchising, come check us out at
Have
pepperlunchrestaurants.com.
a beef pepper rice and tell me you don't fall in love with the brand, you don't fall in love with the story. I can't wait to
And
bring
if
the
you like garlic, add garlic chips. We have
yes,
roasted garlic chips that are amazing.
phenomenal. But no,
Thank you, Shawn.
absolutely, Troy, I appreciate it. I'm grateful, and congratulations on the show. This is awesome,
Thank you,
man.
buddy. Thank you for listening to the Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.